Mark Shelton is a member of the International Elvis Tribute Hall of Fame, and he easily moves from the 1950s to the 1970s Elvis Presley songs mirroring the king of rock and roll with such precision that people sometimes think they are listening to a recording and are breathless when they discover it is a live singer. He is truly impressive. His shows have received national attention, being featured on ABC News, CBS Inside Edition, Good Morning America, and many others. And his awards are numerous. He was awarded the People's Choice Award at the Elvis Tribute Award Competition, Reflections of the King, in 2017. And in 2018, a banner year, but placed second in Montreal Elvis Tribute Artist Competition, as well as becoming champion of the Elvis North American Gospel Champion in Montreal, and of course, inducted into the International Elvis Tribute Artist Hall of Fame. Well, Mark is a man of great faith. His motivation to enter the Elvis Tribute Artist world was led by a deep and powerful conviction and a promise to his late wife, Lisa, which he will tell us about today. But Mark now carries on with Lisa in his heart and entertaining crowds everywhere with the legendary songs of Elvis Presley. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome International Elvis Tribute Hall of Fame artist, my friend and a brother in Christ, Mark Shelton. Welcome, friend.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I love you, man.
Man, I love you too, man. It's been with the pandemic, it's been a while since we've been able to see each other in person. Yeah. But let's kick off Elvis week here because
Amen.
I want to know what led you to become an Elvis tribute artist.
Oh, golly. Long time ago in high school, I was working backstage and for some kind of show, talent show, the school talent show. And bands were playing. I wasn't part of it. I was just, moving things. And some girls came up and said, hey, Mark, why don't you go sing an Elvis song out there? And I'm like, no, the band won't like me to do that because they're all seniors and I'm like a junior. And they go, we'll make it happen. And so they asked them, they came back and said, okay, the guy said, yeah, you can do it. And so they got me a white jacket, not unlike this without the frills. And they put tinfoil stars all along the side. And so I wet my hair down and the guy, I was walking out and the guys are my friends and good guys. And they go, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's do Heartbreak Hotel. And we had the Key of E, I believe, if I can recall. And there was like 800 to 1,000 people in this high school auditorium waiting for the various things. And so I came out and they gave me the chord. I'm like, well, here's my baby, right? And the place went nuts. And about 75 to 100 girls, unexpectedly to me, came screaming to the front of the stage. Right? And this rush came over my entire body. And I said, man, this is what I want to do. And by the grace of God, I've been able to sing for a long time. And people still have me sing. And I'm thankful to the Father through that. And I've sung all over the world. And like I said, still doing stuff. And that's how it began, and record contracts and all that kind of stuff in Canada, because I live right on the Canadian border, so 90 miles from Montreal. So and Elvis is huge everywhere. So and Elvis led me to lots of stuff. I sing gospel all over the place, and then all the other artists too. So Elvis is a piece of the pie, but he was kind of the second step, God being the first, to kick off the Elvis fun stuff. And Elvis gives me a lot of freedom. I'll go into that. When you sing in like cruise ships, or you sing in clubs or festivals and things of that sort, and everybody loves all the stuff, but I get to sing, Hound Dog and Midnight or whatever. People could be just partying or just doing whatever, because that's just what people do. And so you're in a club or even a bar or whatever singing, and you can drop out and drop right into How Great Thou Art, or You'll Never Walk Alone, right in those places, and they're screaming, cheering, and the Word of God is there. So that gives a nice freedom to be able to do that.
That's interesting that you bring that up, Mark, because I just talked with Richard Sturban, who was with the Stamps backing up Elvis. And of course, he's the bass singer for the Oak Ridge Boys. And we were talking about how great thou art, how back in the 70s, here you have the biggest entertainer in the world singing rock and pop. But in these concerts, he brings forth one of the most famous gospel songs in the world next to Amazing Grace. And he's singing to a mainstream audience, but
Yes.
everybody just fell in love with it. So you get the same response.
I do, and just what I think about Elvis when you were talking about is how Elvis was like a secret agent of God. There are people that I believe are that in the entertainment world. Neil Diamond, if you read his lyrics, Johnny Cash. These are superstars that would do gospel, or at least have the scripture going through their words. And so you think about it. In 1956, the greatest phenomenon in entertainment history. And Frank Sinatra might disagree at his point, which is okay. But Elvis at that point was the guy. And he goes on to Ed Sullivan's show, and he's supposed to sing his hits. And he looks at Ed Sullivan, who's a top guy of all time, right, as far as the interviews and talent. And he says, no, I want to sing a gospel song. And so for the largest audience on television history, Elvis sings Peace in the Valley. And then in 1968 special, we see all the history about that. But this is Elvis's comeback. And look how many gospel songs he does in that. If I Can Dream, I figure is gospel because it's love and unity. But I mean, the whole gospel medley, man, the whole gospel medley. And yeah, all his concerts were gospel, and Elvis, good for Elvis for all of that stuff, because that's showing your love and showing your faith, right? What's the scripture say? If you admit me to others, I will, or confess me to others, I'll confess you to my Father. And Elvis did that pretty boldly, and I love it. I love that he did that.
Well, you do Elvis concerts where all the music is strictly gospel, don't you?
Yeah, I do those a lot, everywhere. And I'm going to be doing one this weekend without. They're going to be surprised without the beard. So they're going to show up with a whole sideburn look. But the first half hour is going to be just me singing without the band, the gospel music of Elvis, and then the band will come in and we'll throw down his hits. And then in those hits, as part of the regular set, How Great Thou Art will be part of that.
Wow, so you save How Great Thou Art for the other set, because I guess really that's just a very powerful song. And of course, when Elvis did it, I mean, nobody moved. I mean, he literally had everybody's attention.
Yeah. God touched that boy, and in a very, 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 very special way. And we were blessed to be in that same lifetime, to have seen certainly the videos, but to be here, in that era of the Muhammad Ali's and the Bruce Lee's and the Elvis Presley's, just unbelievable.
Well, what are some of the favorite Elvis songs that a lot of your fans request for you to sing?
Well, Peace in the Valley, How Great Thou Art. I do You'll Never Walk Alone, so that's requested a lot. I mean, I do all the Elvis songs. And then with that, I'll mix in other, traditional old gospel, because Elvis did things that we don't even know. I mean, we all think about Elvis, and not we, but the people out there think of Elvis and the end of his life when he was, working through health issues. But when he was doing Vegas, man, when they were done, right, he'd do like I believe a midnight show, and then they'd go to his dorm, right, his suite, and they'd sing gospel for 3 or 4 hours. I mean, the guy was just all about God and giving thanks. So.
Yeah, when I was talking to Richard about that, how they would sit around the piano or be around the piano, and it could be backstage, it could be at another location after a concert, and literally sing all night long, but they would be singing gospel songs.
Yeah.
And, I really wish that we would see artists today kind of bring that back. You and I know that in the day when the original vinyls and with recording artists, if you looked at the album, and this was really big with country artists, the last song on the album would be a gospel song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen it happen every now and then, but it would be great to see that everybody starts doing that
Well,
on every
I
album.
would say that that's what the world needs. The world needs to reconnect as a world to the Word of God, and to sing and glorify God, and work on the love and work on unity, to um, to reject division. Okay, because that's in the Scripture, that's an abomination. Division is an abomination. And yeah, I'm 100% with you. It's just that the politics of dancing, and we don't want to have our Twitter accounts to have anything negative on it. So why do that? But we're bold for the Lord, and the Lord is forever. So that's where we work.
Now, you saying, well, you have been, even during the pandemic, you went on Facebook and just started doing concerts right there in the living room.
Yeah.
And for you, not only did it, I get, because I would watch them and that excited the fans, but, during that time, I mean, did that just kind of keep you warmed up, hoping that everything would eventually reopen and you just pick up where you left off?
I don't know about warmed up. What I thought is, and is that I wasn't thinking about that, but I do think that it improved the vocals because you were singing. I was singing just a mixture of stuff, whatever various on Tuesday nights, and Elvis was always Friday, and gospel always Sunday. But my motivation for doing it was that Lisa had just transitioned to heaven. I think today is day 916 that she's up there partying without me, and but so I was in this big house all by myself, and I have the Lord. The Lord is with me, and I'm thankful. But the weight of loneliness and isolation, and I was just thinking how many people out there are alone and they don't have the support. The Lord has walked with me, walks with all of us, but I mean, I think I was born believing. you know? so so God has always been with me, and so yes, it was a terrible time for me emotionally, but I kept thinking about everybody else. And then what's happened is that these people have created a network and friendships all over the world, and I still sing because people are still alone, and all ages certainly, and so many countries. It's amazing, but yeah, and then it did. I will say that God has things happening that we don't even know, and I do think that the voice improved, and I got to know the music a little better, and I got to practice some new songs from all sorts of different artists. So it worked
Well,
out.
I have a question from someone that wants to know how many Elvis jumpsuits do you own?
I own not many. I think 7 or 8. Um, but but I also have lots of silk shirts, and the 70s bell bottom pants, and the belt. So you can mix and match different outfits, and I mean this one here. I mean it's just this. I wore this in a parade a few days ago. So. Yeah, jumpsuits are fun, but jumpsuits are unforgiving. So you need to you need to be in shape. And we were talking off the air that I had a knee replacement, the excuse not getting to the gym. So now we can start pumping and getting back in those very very tight revealing outfits. But they are beautiful, and they're heavy too, because they're really. I mean, this one right back here, man, that's all stones. These are real stones and stuff. So I don't know how much that weighs, but some of these things weigh 27, 30 pounds.
Wow.
Just so much. Yeah, you put them on.
Well, they're expensive too, aren't they?
Yes, sir. They can run you from 2 grand to 4,500, and the belts 500, and the boots a couple hundred. And if there's a whole Elvis economy out there, I think, and so many people performing Elvis. So many people still love Elvis. The market is still very, 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 very strong. And of course, with the new movie, that's just going to kick in. And there are lots of exceptionally talented young people and older people in the Elvis tribute world that just will blow your socks off. And some have the look, some have the voice, and it's really impressive, the love there. And the audience still comes, and the audience is all ages as well. So it's like I said, it's a nice little structure and fun and a good group to be part of.
Now, you were inducted into the International Elvis Tribute Hall of Fame, which is an incredible honor.
Yes.
Was that a surprise to you? Did you even see that coming?
No, I know it had been talked about, and I, I'm just going to blame Lisa, okay, my bride, okay, because she is so beautiful spiritually, and I don't think people came to watch me sing. I think they just came to watch her smile, So, but yeah, we had done it, and I do. I don't want to like talk, but there's a lot of community service, a lot of community events, a lot of things that we could do to help people, and I think that plays into it a little bit. And I sung Elvis, so people seem to react pretty strongly. I remember when Lisa and I talked about doing the Elvis again. I said, if I do this, it's going to get really weird really fast. And she's like, what do you mean? And because when I did it as a kid, a kid being 17, 18 years old, up in Canada, I mean, my locker room door would be covered with pictures of girls and drawings of girls and how much they love you, or drawings of teddy bears and all that kind of stuff. And people would send us stuff. And as soon as I got back into doing Elvis on a big way, because I'd always sang Elvis, but I never really kind of jumped right into the world. And I did that for her, and I can talk about that in a little bit. But same thing. I've got trunks full of things that people have sent me, and I think you wouldn't like this. Somebody gave me a ticket stub of a concert in Madison Square Garden, and I didn't want to accept it. I'm like, what are you doing? This is a ticket stub for an Elvis concert. But no, we want you to have it. So yeah, we get a lot of stuff and a lot of mail, and just a lot of love by the grace of God. So.
Well, I know that part of your story is your wife, Lisa. And I understand that when you two got married, she was diagnosed 3 months after your wedding date. Kind of tell us that story.
Yeah, it was, and I must have sent you the wrong word. It was 3 days
3
after.
days.
Yeah, and but when they diagnosed it was non-small cell lung cancer, it was stage 4, and then I would just kind of tell anybody out there, the soon as you hear anything, you work on treatment. Don't wait, because the earlier they can find it, the better. But they found it in her after they diagnosed her for pneumonia for 6 months. And then they said, "Oh no, it's stage 4." And then we turned her around, and as soon as the doctor said that, in her chair, and said, "Hey, it's as you believe. Remember, Jesus, as you believe." And so she had a 2% chance to survive in 2 years, and she survived 5 years and 7 months and 11 days, which is unbelievable as far as Dana Farber, the people in Boston, with that. And so we believe that she's be healed, and God has his way, but we had some precious time. But I asked her, what you want to do. Do you want to go to Italy, because she's Italian, right? And do you want to go to Italy? Do you want to go to Hawaii? Just tell me what you want to do. We'll do anything. And she says, well, she says, I just regret not seeing you sing Elvis like you did in high school in the Jumpsuit. And I'm like, how could you not see me in high school? We went to the same high school. Now, she was a senior and I was a freshman, but she was in college when I started doing Elvis. And then I went in the Army. And so I said, well, I'll tell you what, I will do Elvis. But at that point, I weighed almost 400 pounds, like 390, 385, 395, whatever. And I said, I will lose all the weight, and I will put on a show. I'll get a band. I'll get the real outfits from where Elvis did, and so I started doing that, and 4 hours a day working out, 4 hours a day working out, and refusing all the apple pies and All those good things, man. The peanut butter banana sandwiches, whatever. I just didn't do any of it. And I got a great band. They're 15 pieces, and we did a show. And it was cool. You would love this place. This place is the Haskell Opera House in Derby Line, where the stage is in Canada and the audience sits in America. And there's a little piece of black electrical tape right across the stage, not the stage, but the audience, where the division of the two countries are, and you can actually sit in both countries and watch the show at the same time. So it's really great. It's a beautiful place. And we did that show, and the next thing I know, I mean, we sell that one out, we sell the next one out, we sell the next one out. We only had two planned, and to raise money for her. And next thing you know, we get these calls from CBS and ABC, and we're sitting in a hotel room in Boston because she has an appointment with a doctor the next day, right? And I'm sitting there on the couch with her, and the phone will not stop ringing. And then so I get off the phone with ABC, and I get off the phone. CBS called first, and then I hang up the phone. It rings again, and it's Fuji Television in Japan, right? And I just literally like fall off the chair and sit on the floor going, I can't believe this. And so we get a lot of attention, and there are two documentaries from Fuji Television. There's a couple other and it's in Japanese, so I don't know. It's like we watched a little bit of it. It was like watching the opposite of a Godzilla movie, where people are all speaking and you see the English. So now we're speaking English, but the Japanese is coming out of our mouths. It's kind of funny. And then we just kept doing it and doing it all over the place and New England and down, and I do stuff down in Florida and wherever, and went out and worked name drops, or forgive the name drop, but got called out and did a couple, not Elvis, but crooner stuff with and happy 70s stuff, Flower Power, with a group called Project Cuddle, which helps at-risk moms, that John Stamos is the face of. So, worked with him a little bit, worked with him like he's going that way, I'm going that way in this same building. He's got his job, I got my job. But as far as the Hall of Fame, the guy calls me and we talk about it. And they've got a lot of people there, and you could check it out. I think they got a Facebook site, so you see some great artists that are there. Some great artists.
Wow. I mean, I just, I loved Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and for her to want you to do Elvis, that's just an incredible request.
Yeah, I was blown away because she didn't even like Elvis, but I think Lisa was a woman of God, and she was like you and I. I mean, she told me that one of her secrets was that she felt guilty at 2 years old for not having walked to the front of the congregation and confessed her love for Jesus at 2. So she was another one, and as beautiful as she was, and she truly was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, and the smile, her soul and her spirit of God. And she just wanted everybody happy, and I think that's what she wanted for me. Whether it was Elvis or singing, she was part of all our shows. She was part of every show we did, besides just the Elvis. But we did a lot of other shows, kid shows and pirate shows and things of that sort. But she wasn't really a big fan of Elvis before she knew me. And then, it showed her how incredible of an artist was, because she was raised in a very, very, she was a pastor's daughter. So she had that type of music that was non-Christian, so to speak. She wasn't too familiar with yet. And then she met me, and then off to the races we go.
Well, I also understand that both of you you worked on a project, the Deep Clean Water Well project. Tell us about that, and tell us what happened.
It's people throw the word miracle around a lot. I don't know how to call this, but that miracle's not a bad word here, because during Christmas times, I'd ask Lisa what she wanted for Christmas, and she'd always say, could we buy a cow for Africa or animals for Africa? And so I have pictures, man, it'll make you weep. She would open up her present, and there'd be a card in there, and it would say, you've donated 24 ducks, okay, or 7 rabbits or whatever. And she, Dr. Bond, she would weep with joy. That was her heart, and she was so incredible. And so then, a couple of years before she transitioned, she goes, I really want a deep water well in Africa. And I said, well, I'll do some investigation. There are a lot of shady companies out there, right? And she goes, well, I want to make sure. Here are my rules, right? And the top of it, they have to glorify God while they're doing it. And I'm like, I'll look, right? And so I found a couple and didn't really like one of them. They're all good, but I wanted to make sure that the well was dug, not the money transferred to different projects. And I found a company, and then she passed, but my promise doesn't pass. And I thought I was just going to. This is pre-COVID, because she passed away and then COVID hit. So I figured whatever her spirit was holding back a lot of nasty stuff, man. And I didn't know what to do, because I was going to go do all my music and spend all the money, because it was going to cost like $20,000. So she had passed, and I started doing the Facebook Live, and there was no way to raise any money, because they closed down all the entertainment and all the shows, and so my God, it's going to take a while. But I didn't have a timeline on it. I just had a promise to make, a promise to fulfill. I mean, and so somebody said, why don't you tell people about this project on Facebook? And I thought, well, what are the rules? Can you tell people all that kind of stuff? And I guess it was all right. So I just started telling people on Facebook, here's her story, and this is what I'm doing. And don't think that you have to send a lot of money, but nickels and dimes, accumulate. Just, if you don't believe me, just look at your bill at the end of the month, saying, how did I spend that much money? And so people would send in $5 or $10 or $25, and Chile sent, somebody sent like $1. England would send pounds, right? And all over the world, and Canada and Germany and Scotland, and just all these people. And within 6 months, I had we had raised, everybody that was part of the internet there, $20,000, and the last thing, we needed like $1,800 to go over the top, and a lady had sent me a big Afghan to auction off, and that Afghan there was a competition. There was a guy on the phone with me, and he was in the middle of a hurricane, and he was bidding, and he was down in St. Charles, Louisiana, right, or Port Charles, wherever it is, and he definitely wanted it, so he outbid everybody. And then the second place person said, well, if you can make me an identical one, I'll still pay you that, or give you that. And then the next morning I look online, and someone else was bidding on the Afghan, watching the replay. And so I call them up. I go, oh, no, listen, here's the deal. Or not call them, I text them. And they go, well, we want it anyway. So that one little Afghan, man, like, put us way over the top. And so when I called the people, so we got $20,000, and it was Life Water International, if I may say. They were really cool. And they go, well, that's not going to get a well. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's not going to get a well. They go, it's going to get a well and a school and a church, and for 325 people in Uganda. And so that has been built, and they sent the little video of little children, by the clean water, and you could see the buildings in the back, and God is faithful and God is great.
Wow, Mark. Wow. I mean, that touches me just to hear that story, that it wasn't just a well. I mean, you supplied a whole village.
By the grace of God. Absolutely.
I mean, water, school for education, and a church to worship the Lord in, and to branch. Well, we know that, in villages, churches are usually the center of the village, and that's where everything comes from. It goes from the inside out into the village. And ladies and gentlemen, if that's not the most incredible story you have ever heard, and every bit of it is absolutely true. Yes, God performs miracles, And when you step out in faith believing, you don't have to understand how God provides. You just got to believe that God will provide, and just do what you got to do, and then just step back and watch God's mighty hand work in a very mighty way. And Mark, he's
Amen.
worked a mighty way. And when Lisa went to heaven January 2020, then the pandemic hit. I mean, I guess it was the music that just kept you going.
God, God, there's so many things about that journey that you'd find yourself just, I mean, a lot of people go through different things, but you find yourself in a different place, and God is very, very comforting, and there are a lot of miraculous and supernatural stories that one time when I get out there to Houston, my brother, we'll sit down at a table and share those things with you. But God is faithful, and if I take it back to Elvis, I believe that I know that Elvis just wanted to serve God and wanted to know God, and I got he read this is one of his books that he has, right? It's called Leaves of Gold, and he would underline things, and they were all about the relationship with God and being still and knowing I am God. And when you go to Graceland, um, it's amazing how many awards that guy has. But even more so for me is he has an equal amount of awards for his charitable acts and giving, and you just have, if you didn't love the man, the human being Elvis Presley before, just seeing that generosity and what he did and how many people he helped, I was a beautiful person and a great example of a man of God.
Yeah, and Mark, that's what this whole Elvis week is about. It's about Elvis the man, Elvis the giver, Elvis the human being. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not the world's biggest Elvis fan, and there are people who, we all love his music, and there's some people, they're like, yeah, Elvis, Elvis. But I will tell you this, and Mark, you know this, and I've talked to some of Elvis's close friends, and we're all amazed that all the Grammys that Elvis won was based on gospel music
Yep.
alone.
Yeah. Three Grammys. I might have the dates wrong, but I think in 1967 he got one for How Great Thou Art, and then in 1972 for He Touched Me, and in 1974 for the live performance of How Great Thou Art. And I was reading that he was as well known for How Great Thou Art in the world as he was for like Blue Suede Shoes and his other hits.
That's
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome. And Mark, I mean, what is next for the International Elvis Tribute Hall of Famer, Mark Shelton?
The gym. The gym is next.
I love it, brother. I love it.
And but for real, and we're formed. The band is forming again because we haven't actually been together for 2 years, and so we'll put that together and start making those phone calls and connections again, and go perform. And I have another character called Captain Radical, the Pirate King of Rock and Roll, which is kind of like Elvis with a pirate outfit, but I do all sorts of different songs. So that'll be coming up. I didn't show you my belts though, man, for your
Yeah,
audience.
show us those Elvis belts.
This is a very. Oh, I don't know where it is, but
There
there you
you
go.
go. You got it
So
right there.
so that is the Aztec belt all around. Okay, and one of my favorite belts that I wear all the time, too much because I need a new one now. But this is the Conquistador belt. With the lion
Oh.
and
Now, is that
lion
the one
fur
you wear?
kind of
Is that the
stuff.
one you wear with the black jumpsuit?
Yes, sir. Right there, that one right there.
I love the
And
black one.
oh yeah, for also for your audience, just if they don't like my makeup, here you go. There you go, that thing, right? So we got the whole thing. But Elvis, what I love about Elvis is that he was his own person. He didn't copy anybody. I think the tribute artists are honorable, but I also think that he just wanted everybody to just go have a good time and share love and be that and be kind. I
Wow.
really believe.
Mark, I want to thank you so much for honoring us with your time, your presence, just telling us the most amazing, well, telling us your story. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, like Mark said, he's heading back in the gym. He had knee replacement surgery, and he's going to get back on the road. And when he comes to your area, you have got to see the most amazing show ever. Again, Mark Shelton. He is a member of the International Elvis Tribute Hall of Fame. And rightly so, that not only did ABC and CBS and Good Morning America, as well as Fuji Television in Japan, and there were other countries as well that made phone calls. This guy's got talent. And if you want to hear a voice, and even if you closed your eyes, you thinking that Elvis is live again. But Mark Shelton brings Elvis back. And brother, keep on doing what you're doing. And I cannot wait for us to get together again.
You too. You keep doing what you're doing. It's great work. I'm so happy and proud of you, my brother.
Hey, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying Elvis Week, because I know I'm having a blast. And again, thank you so much, Mark, for being on the program. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We're not done yet. We will be right back after these messages.